This is Manning Hall at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island, built way back in 1834. And just down the road from Manning Hall is another building, the Old Stone Bank, built in 1854. And deeper still into the heart of the city is the Providence Arcade, a mall built in 1828. Now, you might have noticed that these three buildings have a lot in common, and for good reason, because these are excellent examples of the Greek Revival architectural movement, most popular from about 1820 to 1860. And these three aren't alone in the city either. There are plenty more Greek Revival buildings in Providence. Like here's a library, the Providence Athenaeum, built in 1838. And look at that, there's the Beneficent Congregational Church, completed in 1836. Just beautiful, right? I mean, I love these buildings. They're big and grand, and it's always fun to just randomly come across one without expecting it. If you live pretty much anywhere in the eastern half of the United States, there's probably some Greek Revival buildings around you somewhere, just waiting to be found. And the best part is that you don't even need to be some kind of like architectural expert to appreciate and notice some of the movement's defining features either. Like the symmetry, a critical feature of almost all Greek Revival buildings. Or how about the triangle-shaped gables called pediments that you can usually spot peering down at you from the top of the structure. And of course, the mighty columns, the most famous feature of the movement, imposing and undeniably eye-catching. And you know what? Sometimes the interior of the buildings is just as cool as the outside too. Like check it out. Here's the inside of the Providence Arcade. And here's a look at the interior of the library, the Providence Athenaeum. Yep, if you were an architect in charge of putting together a plan for a new structure back in, say, like the 1830s, then adhering to the tenets of the Greek Revival movement was a great choice for a modern, expressive, and stunning design that could still be admired and appreciated long after you're gone. But hey, what if you're not designing a bank for a big city? Or putting together a church designed to hold hundreds, or adding to the storied campus of an Ivy League institution? What if you're from a tiny rural town far away from the hustle and bustle and sheen of city life, and you just want to make something nice for your little community? You know, you want to make something contemporary and interesting, but you just don't have the money or the manpower or the materials or even like the training and knowledge to make something as magnificent as those Greek Revival buildings up in Providence. Well, if you're Russell and Harry Jocelyn, a couple of carpenters from the little town of Exeter, Rhode Island, you just try your best. And you make something that, in my humble opinion, is truly wonderful. This is the Chestnut Hill Baptist Church here in Exeter, built in 1838, and it really is just trying its best to fit in with the Greek Revival movement. And I mean, it's definitely got the features, right? I mean, it's absolutely symmetrical, you can't dispute that, and it's got the columns, kind of, more like it has like wooden rectangles stuck to the front of the church that are pretending to be columns, but still, like, the effect is there, right? And if you look up top, it even has a pediment. Although this church's pediment is a whole lot taller and fatter than those you would find on more traditional Greek Revival buildings. And last but not least, it's got this little Greek key pattern thing sitting above the doors here. You know, a more esteemed architect from back in the day might consider this little flourish like a bit too on the nose, but out here in the countryside, I think it just adds to the charm. Almost as if the carpenters wanted to make absolutely sure that you as the viewer understood what they were going for. As one historian put it a half century ago, this little church just pleads to be Greek. You know, this is what happens when you put your heart into something. When you really try to make something beautiful and specific, even when by all indication you should fail at doing so. This is a genuinely creative take on a movement uninhibited by the critiquing eye of the outside world. Obviously, I can't tell you for sure what our two carpenters were thinking when they built this little church, but doesn't it just feel like they looked up at those big fancy buildings in Providence, thought, hey, I could do that, and then they just did it in their own little way. Thank you for watching.